Welcome to the Business Spotlight. My name is Jada Walker. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Robert Randolph, the owner and the president of Randolph Landscapes. We'll be talking a little bit about his business, the journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to own and operate a business. So, thank you so much, Robert. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little background about who you are and a little bit about your business as well.
Okay. I'm a native Texan, Air Force family, world traveler by age 5, and born in
Age
San
five, wow,
Antonio.
that's crazy.
Born in San Antonio, but we traveled to Japan and Louisiana and Connecticut, and then back to San Antonio, Randolph Field. And my dad retired. We moved to San Antonio, went to elementary school, 6th grade through high school, MacArthur, Northeast Side. 78209 zip code apparently became some kind of posh address. Later on in life, I came across that notoriety and I just kind of chuckled. But yeah, near the Alamo Heights School District, which
Oh, nice.
had a lot of influence. But yeah, at Texas A&M graduate with a Bachelor of Science Landscape Architecture, and went back to San Antonio, worked at Los Patios, kind of a prestigious garden center retail place for a little while, and then moved to Dallas. I worked at Lambert's Landscape, another heralded family, prestigious Highland Park, posh landscape company, very artistic and high end. Let's see. After that, became a resident on an estate, an oil man's estate, bought Mead, Robert Mead Sr. He was in business with Conrad Hilton in West Texas, and kind of my surrogate dad, a businessman dad. My father was Air Force military colonel, commander of the military
Oh,
bases,
cool.
but no business sense to speak of. He became a charter pilot for a lot of well-to-do people in San Antonio
Oh,
until
that's
his
really
death.
cool.
Yeah, interesting stories. But yeah, Mr. Mead encouraged me to go into business for myself after my stint at Lambert's, and that's where I began, living on the property, taking care of the grounds, and started the company, and had met a few prominent families in Dallas area that pointed me here and there. So just built a business card and we took it to the printers that printed all of Gene Street's restaurants, groups, menus, and things, and went from there. So spent time in Dallas for a good while and kept my business going. There were some ups and downs, and uh, moved to Oak Cliff, Stevens Park Village area, a hilly part similar to Austin's geology, upwelling some of the soils and stone and stuff. So always homesick for the hill country, growing up San Antonio and Canyon Lake, Medina Lake, and friends who had ranches and things north of the city. So it was fun. I got an offer to. I went to work for my cousin as a developer. His company had a subdivision in Dripping Springs, but the economy crashed right when I moved
Hmm.
here, 2008. So I had to resurrect my own business in 2009 with the help of the Apple Store. They had helped me learn to build a website in Dallas, starting by taking my computer to the store once an hour with an expert. And people were super kind to me, the Highland Park Apple Store, on my refurbished iMac in 2008. So I got a 6-month extension on the subscription called One to One. So I would go to Barton Creek Mall and work with people until the website was finished. And when I put it up, I said, "Oh, this is it. I'll be rich and famous after that." The work will just flow in,
Oh
like a
my
fountain,
gosh.
like the fountain down, like the springs in New Braunfels. and so and so Yeah, I did get some work, in the area, and I went and found a nice sized job in the spring of 2009 on my own at a friend's property where he had lived, but it was taken into new development for a condo complex above a Barton Springs pool called Melridge Place, 6
Oh, wow.
condominiums. Yeah, it was kind of funny because they didn't have a landscape plan. They'd had some
Hmm.
permits, and I found the contact numbers for the construction people and designed something for them. I went to a couple of owners meetings, and the funny part, the shoelace situation in a meeting with one of the owner's second owners on a rainy day down there off Bolden. The I was presenting my plan, which was a shadescape with a lot of native plants and repositioning a lot of boulders that had turned up in construction as rock outcroppings to snug them into the ground to look natural. And the thought came to me to impress these people because they were from Arizona, young developers. I said, I'm the Stevie Ray Vaughan of landscape architecture. And the fellow looked at the construction superintendent. He said, where did you find this guy? So kind of funny. But so I got the job, nice sized job, $75,000 installation when the economy was in the dumps. So,
Oh, wow.
so built all that. And I act as a working foreman. So I find the subcontractors that do everything and harness them and act as a superintendent or a working foreman and observe their work as they go in to maintain integrity on a design and for safety as well. Big proponent of safety and to go slow in a timely manner, to not hurry up. People are obsessed with making perfection happen in no time flat, and that's dangerous.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
construction industry and the machinery can kill you. And if you're hurrying unnecessarily, you have that situation present you without a announcement. So, yeah, bearing those things in mind. So what the American Society of Landscape Architecture has decided to do was to create a category for people like me who do design hyphen build, people that do the work as well as the design. And that was my thought or creed getting out of school, because we just draw plans and there's no tactile uh, experience. If you just draw plans and don't build what you drew, you won't learn the ups and downs, ins and outs, and how to get better at design, and conversely, how to get better at construction and be safe and do some good work and improve your product for the client, whether it's a commercial job or residential, doesn't matter. It's all dirt. So it's all dirt, and you got to fix that first. And you have to give a
Right.
lecture. You have to give a lecture
Yeah.
on improving the soils. Down here is a green build wave, and that's what attracted me, besides being homesick and besides the subdivision that my cousin held out in front of me. But when that collapsed, my philosophy and uh, impetus just, kept going. Just, got to persist
Well,
and drive
yeah, it's a
through
good thing
those.
that you kept going because a lot of people would have just quit.
Well, didn't really have that option. I still owned a house in Oak Cliff and rented that for a couple of years and then sold it. And down down the road we went. So just just trying to maintain uh, income, body and soul, and find some work.
Yeah.
The Yeah, there were some lead services that popped up when I was still in Dallas, and I accessed them somewhat successfully. And I just observed, quietly on the internet how things were growing there.
Hmm.
So anything that was for free uh, was fine. And the lead services charged some money, but you could get it back if the client was a dud. So I just kept a modest force working to find some work. There were some neighborhood chat groups and things, and I got a couple jobs from them. And what I noticed in the internet world, just like Facebook and the things now that people comment on, is that the temperament of society is varied on those formats and or in emails and or in texts. People behave and verbalize with the technology, maybe more coarsely, if not rudely. And when they see you in person, it's a totally different person if you're on the job site. So,
Yeah.
uh, given those variations in temperament, it's just a learning curve to bounce and try not to take things personally when people use technology in poorly, and they are, unaware of these variations, as politely as I can put it. So here we are, and sourcing leads is a challenge, and I still find myself a little frustrated with clients and their uh, imperfections. They have uh, devolved, I'm afraid, given current events, politics, societal shifts, and
Yeah.
it's a very sketchy situation with some people, and I've had some bad experiences recently. Try not to be jaded on that point, but it's just a fact of society that people are greedy and expect something for nothing, if not everything for nothing. So guarding yourself, contractually, is a necessity, and the uh, range of people, still holds out hope, still holds out uh, promise for some good, for some, the good natured of people. It might be hiding at this point as we speak, and as the government turns into a reality show. And so, given those events, given those facts, uh, you know, misinformation, but I try to be truthful in all things. And
Hmm.
I have a motto, and it's humorous, and I hope you like it. The customer is always wrong.
I
And
actually love that one. I love that one because I've worked in customer service, and so I definitely understand where customers, they always think they're right about everything, but you being in that business, you're like, you're actually wrong. But I have to say that you're right because it's my job.
you have to train people politely. One architect on a PBS special, a very talented architectural firm, and they are on a documentary, and he was sitting in his office at his segment. But of course, the camera crews had panned some of his work, and it was just stellar contemporary architecture in the South, outside of Atlanta, and all other projects and things and libraries and whatever else he had done. And he's sitting in his office, and he says, "You have to." He said, "The trick is to make the client think that all my ideas are his."
Yes.
and, and I said, "Man, I wish I could shake your hand or buy you a beer, because that's where we are." But in the meantime, you have to teach the client that the soils have to be fixed. They don't know beans about soil physics or soil amendments, organics, and minerals, trace elements, moisture retention, microbial activities. They don't know beans about this. I know a handful of beans, a cup of beans, ranch style beans, a can of ranch style beans used to be made in Fort Worth. Anyway, I always loved driving over there to play music because they had a big can on top of the factory, and I'd go, "Yeah, there they are." So, little slice of Texas. So, with that can of beans, I try to teach the clients that the plants won't thrive unless we do things underground that you can't see, and we got to spend a ton of money on that. So
Yeah.
they're hard nosed and reluctant, resistant on that point. But I don't build a job if I can't build the soil. So you know, we can part ways quickly if you don't understand that that's going to happen and you're going to pay for it. So, politely instructing people on the process of design with some design meetings. That's always fun. It's usually held in the evening. Sometimes there's wine and pets and music, you know, and stories, lots of stories. You want to learn about the client, learn where they're from, and I like that stuff. So
Yeah, it's like you're getting personal with the client.
no, it's
Um,
100% personal in that my projects are tailor made. If I was making a suit or a dress or a wedding gown or something, if I was in those trades, this landscape job is a portrait. It's a painting of mine using plants for you, for the area, for the space you're in specifically, and the architecture of the structure and where the sun goes and what my tolerances are, what I can do. If things are shady, you're struck. You can't plant desert plants in the shade. And sometimes you have to be blunt and just tell people, you can't have that. You know, here's the group of plants you can have. And uh, I have spent years on shadescapes, developing things in Dallas before I moved here. And finally, the
mhm.
nursery trades have come along. They came along with the native plants, and I was into native plants early. So um, I was waiting on the industry to do to catch up. I was very lucky to go to some seminars and meet the luminary Mount Rushmore of the native plant process. Carol Abbott was a wildflower person. Benny Simpson at Texas
Mhm.
A&M Extension Service. Uh, Lynn Lowry in he was in Conroe, and then he moved to New Braunfels because a nursery took him as a brain source, and they started growing tons of native plants, and he had collected them in the Big Thicket area. And Mr. Ferry, John Ferry, my professor, passed away a couple of years ago. He had a garden called Peckerwood Gardens in Hempstead. He brought live oaks. He brought oak trees. I'm sorry, from the Sierra Madre Oriental area of Mexico. Apparently, China and Mexico are a nexus for more oak species than Carter has pills, 100 different species. So he brought some that hadn't been, incorporated in the trade, and built a raised lots of raised beds out there. I went to visit him in 2010. It was fun to see him. He was a environmental design professor of mine, and here he was with an incredible collection of folk art from regions of Mexico, and beautiful art inside. Took some pictures of those and had a visit with him, and that plant business and his nursery was taken over by the Tree Coalition, Urban Tree Coalition in Washington. But it was fun to see him, and his writings on his travels in Mexico were really great journals, almost like a novel. Finding a magnolia that was a miniature magnolia that existed just there, and bringing that back. And he was a great linguist, he, which you wouldn't be aware in a classroom. So it was fun to
Right.
see. It was fun to see him, and yeah, I just up and drove out there in 2010 and called ahead, and the women that worked at the place, it was on a Sunday, and everyone was kind of a Twitter for my arrival. So those things are always kind of cute, if not unsettling. But those men were the pioneers, and their pushes as have brought us here, and most of them have passed away, and if not all, and they matter to me, and they're part of me, part of my process. So it meant a lot, and I feel very fortunate to have been there from the get go, as we say, with
Right, of course.
those men. Yeah, it was fun. I could call Benny
Yeah.
Simpson when I lived in Dallas and bring some plants to him to his office. Uh, it was in the 80s. Lonnie Anderson was a TV star. Everybody liked her. Burt Reynolds, I think, married her, much to his misfortune. But she had a TV show, and Benny had a big full-size poster of her stuck on the back of his office door. So when you close the office door, it was Lonnie and Benny and Robbie. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun. He's a sweet man. His discoveries with Lynn Lowry out in the Big Bend area, these whale tongue agaves and other things, the green cloud Texas sage. They, found these plants as genotypic variations and brought them back, and then they became incorporated in the nursery business. So that part,
That's cool.
I feel privileged to be behind the scenes and be around those people and to have relationships with them. They're in my Rolodex.
Yeah, that's really cool. So let's move on to what makes your business so special. Let me ask you this. How do your competitors compare to you?
How do they compare to me?
Mm-hmm.
Compare. Uh, let's see. I don't want to be too sarcastic. I don't want to be too sarcastic, but I'm really good at it. I have a sick, a wild sense of humor that runs
That's how my
a
boyfriend is.
bunch of.
Like I feel like everything he says is sarcastic.
Mm, yeah, it's better than being cynical, but they're really close together, and they might be on a coin, but as yeah, it's easy to be cynical and maybe a little harder to be sarcastic, but satirical as well. So uh, those are good qualities. Sense of humor is born. I don't think you can build one, but so to compare myself with them, I don't do that. I don't think you can compare them to me. I've met a lot of youngsters who do green build, and they all seem to have a working knowledge of the art. And
Hmm.
I find a few people that know more than me and are good at it, but then they're not the total package. They're in one avenue of this business. I have to be the neighborhood. I have to be on all the avenues to do what I do. To
It's like
find
you're the top dog.
well, it's called a sole proprietorship for a reason. It's not a corporation, but you're in charge of everything. And in San Antonio, they call you the head nacho or the head honcho. I like head
That's
nacho
funny.
because I like
Yeah,
nachos.
that one's funny.
And I think we all like nachos better.
Right?
But yeah, to roll that in, yeah, you start with finding the job, the opportunity, then you visit the site, then you meet the people, you get some documents, surveys and things, and you have to do the whole thing. You have to decide the quantities and measure and estimate and price the thing, and then find the subs, and then attend the work and take shipments, maybe drive and collect some plants and bring those yourself, truckloads of plants yourself from your pickup, and uh, having those resources, having done all the design build over these years, some of the nurseries from Dallas Fort Worth area moved down here and have branches and grew across the state as their success and prospered. So all those connections come to bear. So it's way more than a sole proprietorship in this army of adjacent trades and suppliers. I
Hmm.
reach out like an octopus and grab them all and pull them in, and then I build a job. And then when it's done, I get paid and walk away and take a break because it's stressful. And
Yeah.
I never was in a big hurry to uh, be stacked up with work. I don't have a family and I never married and never had kids. So all that
Oh,
pressure of
really?
that lifestyle uh, was not in my purview, not in my portfolio. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that
well,
makes sense. That makes
out of
it's like you have the time to do all of this in your business because you didn't really have that personal life like some people do,
well, I
or the
just looked at
personal
it as
family life.
a quantity of energy and stress,
Hmm.
and yeah, and noise.
Yeah.
I found myself on some dates in my Volvo that if women start talking to me when I'm driving, I can't do both. So please be quiet while I'm driving.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, just stop talking.
yeah.
Gosh.
Couple bad dates. One leaving Campese's Egyptian restaurant. Yeah, yeah, famous place. Friends of mine in the family, so, some of my and clients too. The Campese family, good Italian food.
That is so funny. What is one thing that you wish people knew about your business that they don't know?
Oh, let's see. That I'm bad at estimating, so they get a real bargain. I, I don't charge. Yeah, I learned on the last job a couple years ago that I was way under, but the only reason I was way under was the client had a lump sum of money, and that's a danger.
Hmm.
That's a red flag. When they come to you and they don't have, and you haven't designed anything, and they have a fixed amount of money they want to spend, that's a danger sign. And no,
Hmm.
there's no sarcasm needed. That's what I've learned in the last 4 or 5 years. That they don't want to hear that that lump sum can't fulfill their dreams entirely.
Right.
So I'm the bad guy because I have to bring that news to the table. And it in the variations uh, over the years, when things went south and you left the job or had to pull off the job because of these impasses, their uh, their reactions and their behaviors have varied, and those have hurt my feelings as far as work, as far as my career, because I've been in business 45 years. I don't know everything,
Hmm.
but you can't tell me you're in the right with your position
Yeah.
because you're not. And if people who make way more money than you think they're right out of might makes right, or green makes right, gold makes right, uh, you're just going to have to walk away. And hopefully you walk away with something in your pocket for your time, as liquidated damages is a legal term. And when things blow up, the client is not entitled to refunds, because they're
Hmm.
trying to take you to the cleaners and create a state of penury, where you're an indentured servant. Yeah, we're not here to be indentured.
I definitely get that. So this is going to lead me into the marketing side, which is obviously very vital to any business. And I know you mentioned earlier you were kind of having a little trouble with sourcing leads. Do you have an approach that you take to track your leads?
No, no,
Oh.
I am very simplistic, and I haven't spent. I've seen. I tried a couple times with some groups and allowed them to take over and do some of that stuff, and the results were horrible. And paid money for leads, and went to a dozen leads that were provided, and there was no work, and the only work that came turned into a disaster. So I
Mhm.
am a little bit shaken as to what comes next for
Yeah.
for possibilities. And the city is growing, the outskirts are growing, and every week on the internet I find some prestigious projects that are enormous and spacious and are in the Kyle and Buda and these other areas that are just very, very high end. And I had my philosophy was try to the history of landscape architecture is only wealthy people could afford it. And I took the road less traveled, which is my life. And I don't follow crowds and trends, make my own way and my own styles, etc. So I thought I could bring
Love it.
some high-end landscape design and construction to people that weren't wealthy. And
Hmm.
I think uh, with the drastic shift of wealth in the last 40 years, the notion is falling by the wayside. That
Hmm.
yeah, my dream is come and gone. So that that original idea has been met by, you know, events, but we just remain optimistic and just look for
Okay.
opportunities. Last year, I built a lawn for a historical museum that is very active uh, in the community near the college, and hadn't done a lawn in a long time, but they had a super shady place with historical trees, giant trees. And
Hmm.
so I went ahead and punched that job for them, put some numbers together, and kind of a donation as far as
Yeah.
prizes from subs and things. But I still charge them for my time, but any of the suppliers and things were at cost and deliveries, and it was fun and arduous, but at least it was in the shade. But waking up at 6 in the morning to take a delivery of 10 pallets of grass on a truck that came from the coast, and they're there at 6 a.m. unloading, in a historical place. It's pitch black. There's a street lights. Thank God there was some street lights.
Right. I think about that all the time when I'm driving through certain areas. I'm like, there's not very many streetlights here. Like, I don't understand. And then like people don't like to use their porch lights either. And I'm like, that would help a little bit.
Right. Yeah. People. Yeah. That course. Yeah. I had a porch light in my house in Oak Cliff, and you always left it on overnight. You just turn it on. It was just our family thing
Yeah.
for safety, and
Yeah.
and something that you learn at home. So if your parents don't teach you that, whoopsie. There you are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm like,
is
I feel like a lot of people just they just don't do it.
well,
But go
yeah.
ahead.
They don't have that legacy. They don't have that tradition. So they're not.
Yeah,
So there they sit in the dark. Yeah.
of course. But I think you had mentioned you're like, of course, the basically the leader of all of the projects. So you have teams that kind of you form where possible. And I feel like it's always important to address the topic of a great team. How would you describe your leadership style in business? And has it changed over time?
Well, acting as a working foreman, the team is a temporary thing. And
Hmm.
so the concept of a team, I find some day labor that I've used in the
Okay.
past that I can rely on. And over time, if you build a couple projects, they can gain the knowledge having looked at the plan that I've prepared, that I have created
Hmm.
construction field copies like blueprints for a house. So they're on an 18 by 24-inch sheet and they can see everything. And once they learn that and I cross two languages to educate them, I can trust them to leave that in place. But chances are, I, you know, really, really survey things that go on and maintain a presence on the job, except to maybe sprint for lunch and buy lunch and have lunch with the crew. And when the subs come, I'm there waiting on them, and I've already lined them out. So as far as a team leader, we like your interview, we talk about stuff beforehand and get it all squared away in team meeting, and
Okay.
then proceed and hold the course. But the hardest thing to do, and this is a boating metaphor, is to hold the rudder and steer the thing on the course that you've chosen with the design. Hardest thing to do is keep the owner out of that process once you're in the middle of it. Because chances are they'll come up with some ideas and stuff and they stink and you don't have time and you've got to press on and you've got to finish what you drew. With some, we had a famous landscape architect come visit us in college. And it was an interesting meeting because they had a whole class, like 30 kids in a room with a blackboard. And being a professional musician, I could see in 3D. So that was a goal to try to teach you in school. And most
Yeah.
people can't, most people don't have that ability. But I guess I had more creativity than most. And we struck up a conversation, and the only questions were asked were coming from me. So our chain of thought was one to one. And the interesting thing was, after a few of these questions were answered and he wrote the solutions on the blackboard. This was his decision. He turned to the rest of the students and said, if there are no more questions, class is dismissed. And that is what happened. And he and I took a walk around the campus, and our conversation, which began as a student Q&A, was so educational for me. I feel very fortunate to have been in that position. And what I learned and maintained is that designing is like sausage, making sausage, an infinite stream or a tube with meat in it, and it's on a belt and it's coming at you. You have to put a head and a tail on that sausage, on that hot dog, on that bratwurst. and the hardest thing to do is hold the rudder and keep that concept intact through the building process. So those are challenges that don't meet the eye.
Okay.
But I learned them from a very
metaphor was
talented
very
person.
interesting.
Well, yeah, I thought so too. Monumental, monumental, frankly.
Yes.
And who doesn't like a chili dog?
Right? It's like you're crazy if you don't.
Communists.
Let's now fast forward and look at what to come next. Where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
I'm not sure. So there's a big question mark, and you could have 3 to 5 question marks. I'm 73. I've been in business 45 years. And the things we've discussed as far as the changes in society have moved me to this position. And my musical career, I'll mention to you, there's always been a fork in the road, like your poem. If you're reading a poem and there's forks, So on your lines in your poem. So the thought to me with resurrecting my musical career after absence for a year and a half has led me to the spot I'm in now. And with this, well, and plus my body,
yeah, of course.
my feet, my knee, my shoulders, my hands, a lot
it's
of
like
pain.
You're starting to feel all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm bent, but I'm not broken. I'm bent,
right.
but I'm not broken. So all those things come to play. And the revelation I had, I went to a Aggie alumni happy hour, and a man who works at the Long Center, who's in charge in there somewhere, suggested I go by this restaurant, and that they had crawfish boils and things. So it was a Cajun theme situation. I worked for some caterers in Dallas and played a lot of catfish fries, crawfish boils, and other style cuisine being brought, private parties and things. And the people that worked those jobs, the music that I played mattered to them, just like food, just like a side dish, just like something you eat. And when that music is combined with that food and a cool place, that's an event. That's special. And these young girls that have finished college and are starting out, or maybe they're still in school, they've been going to this restaurant for food on Saturdays, and we played there, and just their enthusiasm for the music we played, which they haven't heard, the music that Stevie Vaughan and Angela Straley and Luann Barton, the Thunderbirds, plenty of other blues groups and things came down in the mid 70s, brought and kind of anchored the city. And so that's kind of come and gone in the 50 years since. And I guess I see myself as an archivist, to the songs I liked were songs that I grew up in San Antonio hearing on the radio.
Yeah.
And we were very privileged to have a cool radio station that played New Orleans music, Fats Domino and those kind of things. The Beatles came along, so they played all that. But then they played Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and all this early rock and roll music that was so forceful that created those radio stations and created, all the rock and roll culture. So all those things were like going to school while I was going to school. And so I just bring those back like a librarian. I'm sitting here at the library out front. So I act as an archivist and put that music in front of these youngsters, and they are really, really appreciative. And so
I love
that
that.
that
That's
makes
awesome.
me that makes me think I can maybe leave a fork out of the road and proceed down the musical avenue and try it
Yeah.
100% hard rather than I don't think of it as a hobby because I've done it professionally and I get paid and I know what I need to
Yeah.
get paid. So I'm not that stupid. And yeah, oh man, you can use it for experience. Come play at my place and I'll make thousands of dollars. It'd be a good experience for you. We always laugh. Musicians were
Yeah.
wrapping up the wires or cleaning our guitar strings after the job. That's an in-house joke. So yeah, so we have a residency at Little Easy on Cesar Chavez, 5000 East Cesar Chavez, and 7 to 9 p.m. on Wednesdays, starting in September. And New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve both fall on a Wednesday. So we chose the Wednesdays. Management suggested that, and we took their suggestion. And those two dates are you know special to society. And
Yeah.
so we have those, but we have all the other Wednesdays. So I would invite anybody from your group to come down there because we're well received. And we only played at the restaurant uh, for 40 minutes before we got our second job. My first break, the guy gave us another job. And
Oh wow,
we
that's
played
nice.
we played 2 dates in July. And the second date was the 12th. And the shift manager walked up and I spoke to the general manager a couple of days later, and all the Wednesdays were given to us. So
Oh, that's
that
so
says
cool.
something. That says something. And
Yeah, so it's like you could literally just fall into that if that's what you wanted to do. That's
well,
cool.
falling is one thing. I got to be worried about
Or
falls. I'm too
jump back
old.
into it.
I'm too old. I'm too old. They tell you a fall will kill you when you're this old. Anyway,
Yes. Oh my God. It's like it's
um,
funny, but it's not funny to laugh about.
oh no, death is funny. Yeah, as long as it's not yours.
Yeah.
But even your own death could be seen as funny too. It's
Oh
eventual.
my
There's no
God.
reason to struggle against it. And who says I know when I lived in Fort Worth there and Dallas and played golf and music with my friends and went
Hmm.
to the Colonial Golf Tournament, I always had a funny dream story that I dreamed about heaven. And heaven was my dream of heaven that I told my golfer buddies was Joe T. Garcia's, which has a swimming pool and a bunch of gardens, lawns with big banquet tables that are usually filled with people. So it's a beautiful picture. And Joe T. Garcia's outdoors and Pebble Beach Golf Course and St. Andrews and maybe two other golf courses would be outside that region. And I said, that sounds like a good image for heaven. So I don't play golf anymore, but the picture is still a good picture.
Yeah.
But
Well, you have
yeah,
a really interesting story. As we wrap up, I just want to do a few rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
yes,
Awesome. Okay. So, what is the key to success for you?
finishing the job, seeing the job to completion, and getting paid, and the owners, tenants, residents, whoever is your client, they're happy, and everyone's satisfied at the end of the trail. And you go on to the next one and ask them for referrals politely, and hope for referrals. Maybe circle back around a week later. But, you follow up on the work and kind of tend it, try to give them the stewardship lecture, let them know, the job is only so good as the people watching it, and you're in charge of watching it now. So politely try to inflect their role to suggest that they have a role to play now. They have a role in the front and they have a role in the back. And when the job is done, someone else needs to take over. I can't tend to all this stuff that I build. So,
Yes, I love that. What is one piece of advice for other business owners?
believe in yourself and don't let people turn you from your dream. If you have an idea and you're not the road less traveled, learn to be the road less traveled and plow your own trail. Don't follow trends. Find your own trail and plow that. And people will come to you, be drawn to you. All this electronics and all this social media and all these other inventions from children in Africa with nothing, creating batteries and things, has to be the song that plays in your head. Anyone can be an inventor and you can make the world a better place. We need to be looking on compassion and getting along, community, a sense of community for the world rather than the hate and vengeance and the moods, animosity that doesn't serve any purposes.
Yeah, that was a great answer. My last one for right now is okay, I know you're at the library, so is there a book that you are currently reading?
I can't tell you the title. It's James J. It's on my desk. The cover. My friend loans me these books. This guy's a great author. It's James something. I don't want to say Coleman because I'm wrong, but if you mentioned his name, I could pick it out if it's multiple choice. But I don't really know the names of the songs that I play a lot of times or the writers.
Sometimes I don't either.
Yeah,
I'm like, I know the artist,
so
but I don't know the name of the song.
I played in a Cajun band. We played a ton of Zydeco, and my good friend Dennis Cavalier played accordion, and he had adopted this style, and we've knew each other for years, and I just know how the songs go, and I know where there's some harmony parts, and a lot of it, it's accordion based music, and it's basically a groove, a one chord vamp, but there's some stops and changes and stuff. Some other, additions in the song, events in the song. But yeah, I didn't need the list. I knew it by the road, the way you have to walk in each song.
Yeah.
So having tactile knowledge precedes, letters, reading, So there you go.
Awesome. Well, before we get into the final question of the day, would you like to share with our audience how they can follow you and learn more and contact you?
Oh, yeah. The LinkedIn page was built for me, and so my time spent on it is pretty minimal. But thank Kay for finding me, and I'm anxious to talk to her more going forward. And I had another friend who worked on it for me. So she built it. So my whatever mentions, she goes to that site and I don't want just I don't know what she does. She just maintains it for me. I don't want to use I don't want to use any active verbs that might be of other industries that are that aren't family oriented. But I'll just say maintains. She spent some time, in that sense, but no, very frequently, infrequently. But other than I don't have any social media. We have some help coming from social media. I had a Facebook page and I posted a little bit. I didn't post too many photos. It got stolen from me a few years ago. Someone just jumped it.
Oh no, I hate when that happens.
Well, I probably did, enough political commentaries to create some interest from overseas, wherever the Russian trolls and other hackers. So they heard me use the word fascist in 2017. Didn't take me long. But I do know I passed my civics class. I was on the golf team in high school, and Mr. Sitton was our golf coach. So you got to pass civics. I think we need to teach civics, and we need to teach ethics and logic, where morality will come into play, and teach people how to think and decide and know what's correct and what's not. So yeah, those things were out there for me, and the site was taken. My website is randolphlandscapes.com. GoDaddy helps me with that. And I recently paid extra, so it has the secure appointments on it. And
Oh,
it's been
cool.
up for a long time. I built that with the software and help
Oh,
from
cool.
the Mac professionals at the Mac store, both here
Oh,
and
nice.
in Dallas, and some photographers, so catalog photographers, product photographers, merch photographers in Dallas who were moving to digital format with their cameras. So they took some photos and then digitized them so I could download them in the old CD slot, on the iMac back in the day. So I am what am I? I'm analog. So you're not going to find me, running down the road with all the new toys, but I bothered to do the requisite, the minimum,
Yeah.
whatever, as things change. And I read a lot and watch things change and I go, huh, but I don't have the funds to spend on all that noise. And if
Yeah.
I get a few jobs a year, I'm happy. And that's the way I've been for 45 years, is to do a couple projects a year, a few projects, and take your time with them and do a great job and leave them in good stead and go on and just stay optimistic about the work generated can create some new work for you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is, what is most inspiring to you today?
Well, I guess the youth. There's a group of people that are speaking out against the noise, and they are making themselves heard, and their devotion to a sane society that is level and is fair and equitable is building momentum, and that everything boils down to who's in charge. And if you're and puts you in charge of more things than just the United States. So
Yeah.
as the United States goes, so goes the world. So knowing those equations, um, the leadership has reached a point, and too many old geezers hanging on to power creates obstacles. So I'm hopeful of the youngsters getting their
Yeah.
toehold. They need to get their toehold, and they're going to have to put on some boxing gloves.
Yes.
I told Lloyd Doggett in some emails that he needed to take boxing lessons because I don't see any combativity, if that's a word, combativity out of him. They use the word "we're fighting for you" as a voter. Well, that's yeah. Till you show up on
You're
camera
like,
with
no,
a
you're not.
bloody, till you show up with a bloody nose on camera, you ain't fighting for nobody. You need to
Right.
you got to double your fists and use it, because you're going to get stomped. And right now the stomping is proceeding, and the efforts from the sane parties, sane organizations need to be collated. They need to join forces and fight the power, because
Yes.
we're heading in a bad direction.
Yes.
Slip
We
sliding,
really are.
slip sliding away. That's right.
Yeah, but I love that answer. But was a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your story. So thank you for sharing. Also, I just want to encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back and watch it again, because Robert really did have some great insights for business. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thanks to everyone who joined us today, and a special thank you to Robert for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jana, for the opportunity. And yeah, I look forward to seeing the product, and look forward to any comments, and happy to answer some questions if they're left on the site.